Hi, everybody, and welcome to another Spartan Sports Report, number 1 of 2016. Happy New Year, Sam.
Happy New Year to you. Glad to be back with you for 2016.
Happy New Year, and happy leap year to the people born on February the 29th. They have a birthday this year.
That's right.
First one since 2012.
Yeah.
So I want to wish those guys and gals.
They don't get wished happy birthday very often.
Only every 4 years.
That's right.
So, but this is one of those years.
You have to work an extra day this year.
Enough of this. Many basketball games have been played since we were on the air here at TV3 right before the holidays. Most recent game was a girls' game. Tell us about it.
Well, a tough one against arch rival Rushville. I always like to beat those R's, and girls just weren't able to get it done. It's poor shooting and a lot of turnovers again. But and Rushville was really better than I expected, Fran.
Were they?
They came in. Their record, I think, was maybe 6-9. But they had lost to some pretty good teams early on. But I really thought, I think Coach Thompson thought too, that if we could play defense like we've been playing, that we could hang in there with them. And we did for a quarter. It was 8-4 after one, but then Rushville kind of blew it open there in the second period. We had a lot of turnovers in the second period, and they were able to score off of those. And they just kind of put it away at that time, I think. But, the girls kept playing hard, and I think they understand the rivalry. Rushville certainly understands it, and anytime they can come to Spartan Bowl and defeat the Spartans, they like to do that.
Sure.
Just as we like to go to Memorial Gym and knock them off.
The girls, they played a tourney, Rumble on the River. Lost their first 2 games, but won the last game they played.
Yeah, beat Austin, and Coach Thompson was pleased with the way that they had played in that game. Austin, from close down by there, they didn't have nearly as far to travel as the Lady Spartans did, but a pretty good team for a smaller school.
Yes, 32-30 was the final, and again, as Coach Thompson pointed out several times, if we can keep the other team around 30-point mark, we'll be okay.
We can be successful.
And they have. The wins that they have mostly been in that 30-point range and everything.
They have. Defensively, all year long, save for a couple of games, but for the most part, I think the girls have played very well defensively. It's just finding their mark, and Coach talks about in practice they can knock it down. We watch them, you and I watch them in warm-ups, and they're knocking them down. But once that ball goes up in the air, you just don't know. But time's running out on them. The month of January here, I think they've got.
I was going to say they got
5 games.
5 games left. You're right. Yeah. This week they go to
Columbus East.
Columbus
East.
East.
Team that had defeated them down at the Rumble on the River. So they do know a little bit about them. So they're not going into this one blind. Although it's going to be a tough game, I'm sure.
They lost to Columbus East 69-40 in the tourney, and also it was North Harrison, 45-29 were their other scores in that. Yeah, they've just got these 5 games to go to Franklin County on January the 15th, and Pendleton Heights on January the 22nd. And the sectional begins on February the 2nd, and I think they only have a couple they have 5 games left, 3 away games. All right, you say Columbus East this Friday, then Franklin and Pendleton. They're home to Richmond. I think they play Richmond on January the 12th, and East Central on January 27th.
None of them easy.
No, it's a tough
quality opponents,
schedule,
and it is a tough schedule the Lady Spartans play. But the coach keeps saying we're going to sneak up and surprise somebody one night, and I think he's right. I really think if they can get their shots to drop, they get good looks, and it just seems like they rim out or a little wide. But one of these nights they're going to put it all together, and it's time. This time of the year, last month of the season, be a good time to start putting that together, because that sectional tourney draw will be here before we know it.
Won't be long.
It's a tough sectional.
The boys begin the second half of the season, meeting Greensburg Saturday night at Spartan Bowl. In the holiday tourney, they broke even in 4 games, won 2 and lost 2. played pretty good ball. They beat Lebanon 54-50, I think, in the opener. And then Warren Central caught them. That was kind of a track meet, I think. And they lost to Warren Central, came back and knocked off number 8 Fort Wayne North by 3 points, 50-47, I think it was. So,
well, pretty good.
The boys played well.
Yeah, they did. I know they would have liked to have won that tournament, but you look at all the teams that are in that. There's some pretty good teams. But you look at knocking off Fort Wayne North, a number 8 team in the state in 4A. So I think the boys are playing pretty well, and it was a lot of games in a short period of time there. But can simulate a regional and having to play 2 games in the same day.
2 games in one day, right? As Coach Brown always talks about, it's great for because it is similar to the postseason play. So it's the reason he likes it so well. They won or lost to Hamilton Heights 52-46 in the final for a 6th place finish, which is pretty good because 16 teams came to Richmond.
It's not bad. No. Maybe the surprise up there in that tournament was Seton Catholic knocking off the host team, and they played well. I tell you what, for a 1A school,
they do. They use all the advantages. I mean, you make a turnover against them, and it's going to cost you. I mean, those guys, they're well coached, and as you say, a 1A team against 4A teams. Look at the difference in enrollment and everything that they have to choose from for their team and everything. Before we wrap up on the tourney, Bo Isaacs did okay. He was named to the all-tournament team. Bo had some games in double figures and
led the Spartans in scoring, and
I think so.
In most of those games. And the thing, and you've seen it on the games that you cover at Spartan Bowl, Bo is just a rebounding machine too.
Absolutely.
He can score. He gets a lot of putbacks, but he can step out and hit the 3-pointer as well. But a lot of rebounds.
And he takes up a lot of room under the basket.
Yes, he does.
He's fun to watch. The whole team is. I mean,
they are.
They're real fun to watch. The Spartan Wrestling Classic. Jacob Dougherty finished 5th in the 152-pound category. The Spartans as a team finished 18th. 32 schools took part in that tournament at Spartan Bowl. Lebanon and Carmel, I think, finished in 1st place. Franklin County came up with 6th, which is pretty good.
Sure
in
is.
32 teams.
32 teams, and
they have a good program.
Brought a lot of people to Connersville.
Yes,
and it's a good thing. They
really?
come and participate, and they see what Connersville's hospitality is all about, and spend some money here, which is good for our merchants.
That's been going on for years. So it's quite an event, and our wrestling team they're coming along. I think it's kind of a reloading year for these guys.
New coach, we had him on, and I think he's got the right attitude, and we'll build on that team, and hopefully get keep the interest up with the young guys and keep them going.
This Wednesday, Richmond will come to town for one of their few home meets, so that should be pretty interesting. It has a 6 o'clock start. Then Saturday they go to Madison and take part in a wrestling invitational. So that's their events for this week. And they're getting they're kind of winding down too. They'll have Hagerstown. At Hagerstown, they'll go to Franklin County for an invitational, and the conference championship will be at Lawrenceburg, and the wrestling section will start on January 30th.
Oh, it's almost here.
It won't be long, so it's really, I don't know where this season has gone to, this winter season.
I don't either.
It just
goes by way too quickly, I think, although I look forward to spring, but certainly, the sports that you and I cover on a regular basis, basketball and football season seem to go by very quickly.
Yes, it does.
Now basketball, with the girls' schedule being moved up a week, it really
that's why they
really winding it down.
Early tourney and everything, and it'll soon be here. Swimming teams doing well. Both the boys and girls are undefeated.
That's great.
Yeah, and they host Mount Vernon Fortville this Tuesday at the CHS pool, And then Friday and Saturday, they'll be taking part in the conference championships, swimming and diving at East Central. Diving is Friday evening, and swimming events begin Saturday morning at 9 o'clock. As it's the Eastern Indiana Athletic Conference for the championship, and the Spartans have won it 2 straight years, so they're going for number 3.
Well, that'd be great to bring home the hardware again, 3 in a row, make a three-peat,
Yes.
and that's good. Those kids put in a lot of hard work, and if you enjoy that kind of competition, you go out and see them swim out at the natatorium at the high school. There's plenty of seats out there, and been a while since I've been to a swim meet, but they are a lot of fun, and I really always like watching the relays.
We did one on TV3 3 weeks ago, and as you say, it's pretty exciting. Those people get really excited, the fans
they
and
do.
everything.
Yeah.
But we have a good team. Daryl Drew's doing an excellent job with the boys and girls, so they're looking forward to undefeated seasons, I think.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, sure would be. The gymnastics will be starting pretty soon on January the 12th. So next week, they'll be hosting New Palestine at Newcastle in their first meet. They don't start till January, but that's always interesting, and they have a good team.
Oh, they do. A lot of tradition there, going back in the 80s, 3 state championships, but throughout that time, their tradition is carried on, and those kids, we watch them from the time they're just little ones, 5 or 6 years old, and they come to the bowl and put on their performance from the gymnastics center.
Yes.
But a lot of hard work and a lot of discipline in that. And
absolutely.
How they do some of those things.
That's the way with me. But as we open it on the 12th, they open, and they'll be at Rushville on the 14th, and Concordia Lutheran on Saturday, January 23rd. They'll be back home on January the 28th, Muncie Central, Morristown on February the 1st. February the 3rd, they go to Columbus East, back home on the 10th to Richmond. They'll be having an invitational on Saturday, February the 12th. Shelbyville and Cambridge City Lincoln comes to Connersville on Monday the 15th. And the sectional for the gymnastics begins on February the 27th. So they have their full schedule ahead of them and everything.
I know that their tournament in gymnastics kind of coincides about the same time as the boys basketball tournament throughout the years. But,
Right. Yeah. Sam, we talked about Bo Isaacs being honored by being on the all-tournament team for the wedding tournament, and I found that out. We had some 4 football guys who did pretty well in the honors department, so you might want to tell us about those
sure
guys.
did. The 3 Spartans, Chris Dudas, Devin Hall, and Andrew Stam, were honored by the EIAC as members of the all-conference team, and Caleb Dare was also recognized with an honorable mention designation. For Hall and Stam, this was their second such nod in the 8-school league. So congratulations.
Yeah, and Chris will be back. He was a junior, so we'll have him on the squad later this year when the season opens in late August, and we meet Richmond in the first ball game, and if we're lucky, same coach of basketball team will be coaching the football team. I know that's a low blow.
You're talking about Richmond there. That was an interesting game. That when the boys played Richmond at Spartan Bowl, and a little bit different than what we had seen with Coach Luce.
Yes, a whole different type of. The players, they tried real hard, but some of those kids just don't have a whole lot of basketball IQ, I guess is the way to say it.
I guess, but Spartans came away with an overtime victory,
Oh,
which is
gosh.
good. And always talk about beating the 2 R's. We beat them both in boys basketball, Rushville and Richmond in overtime.
That's
this
right,
year.
both were overtimes.
Yeah.
So-
Richmond's one we could see again at Newcastle.
Sure, they're in our
For
draw
the
in the
sectional.
sectional. Absolutely. Area teams, Richmond is now 4-8. Franklin County is 6-2. Let's see, that's the conference. We'll get to the conference in a second. Richmond is 4-8. Franklin County area teams is what I'm trying to say. Franklin County is 6-2. Rushville is 3-6. Union County is 6-4. Their most recent victory was Saturday night over Morristown. Cambridge City is 5-4. They beat Daleville Saturday, and Centerville is 1-6. Now we might talk about the conference standings. The Spartans will be entertaining Greensburg Pirates on Saturday night. They happen to have a 7-2 record. The Spartans are 9-3. Both are 2-0 in the conference with 5 games remaining. So, we're right where we were at the end of last season. Both Connersville and Greensburg at the top of the conference standings.
Yeah, and good game it should be. And I'm looking
I
for a
would
big
think
crowd.
so. Excellent.
Greensburg coming off of a couple years ago of back-to-back 3A championships, and those people down there are still excited about Pirate basketball. So look for a lot of blue and white in the stands
Yes.
at Spartan Bowl on
Yes.
Saturday night. We'll be there with radio. You'll be there with
Right.
TV. So,
Right.
But it would invite people to come out and watch the Spartans, because 2 quality basketball teams going at it. And of course, last year, Connersville able to defeat Greensburg down at their
Yes.
place. So I know that they remember that, and they'd like to return the favor.
I think the two teams are very equal in talent, from what I understand. In the standings, Franklin County, as we mentioned, overall 6-2. They're 2-1 in the conference. South Dearborn is 1-9 overall. They've lost both their conference games. Greensburg, as we mentioned, is 2-0 in the conference. They're 7-2 on the season. Batesville 0-7. That really surprises me.
Oh, when was the last time?
I thought,
They're
what is
usually at the
going
top,
on?
and-
Yes. Strong in football, and I don't know what happened to the basketball.
I don't know
program.
either, and because year in and year out, they're always, even before we joined the IAC, it was them and Greensburg usually, and it would come down to
Yes.
them, and Batesville usually would prevail over the years, and for them to be an 0-7,
I know.
I don't know what's happened there.
I don't either. I have no idea what's going on. So, and of course, they're 0-1 in the conference. They've just played 1 conference game. Lawrenceburg has won 5 games and lost 4. They're 1-2 in the conference. Rushville is 3-6. They're 1-2 in the conference. East Central is 4-3. They have yet to play a conference game. They have 7 of them to play here in the final 2 months of the season, and Spartans are 9-3, as we mentioned, and 2-0 in the conference. So it's a good conference.
It is, and we still got some tough teams to play. When you look at East Central yet, and Franklin County yet to play, as well as Greensburg.
That's right, and we got Batesville in here on January the 23rd. Then we go to East Central on February the 11th. Franklin County is here at home on Friday, February the 19th. We go to Lawrenceburg on that Saturday night, the 20th, and that will round out our 5 conference games that we have yet to play, because they play 8 members in the conference, so they play 7 games. But it should be a very interesting.
Should be. I'm looking forward to going down to Lawrenceburg and seeing their new gymnasium. Our girls have already been down there. We didn't carry that when the boys were somewhere else. So. But you talk about the Eastern Indiana Athletic Conference, and East Central has all theirs bunched up at the end. Before Connersville and Rushville joined the conference, they played a home and home, and they both those games counted.
Oh,
in the
did they?
conference
Okay.
standings. They still, a lot of those schools still play each other home and home, but it's the second game, I believe, that they use.
I think you're right, yes.
For the actual conference game. I thought at the time that they may stop doing some of that home and home, and I think they have cut back some. And my thinking was it would make the conference stronger if they did do away with that and they branched out and played other
Yes.
schools.
I think you're right.
I think I said one time it's kind of like kissing your sister. You keep playing them over and
Playing the
over,
same team.
and some of them in the Ripley County tournament. Some of our conference schools play in that, as well as they play each other in the sectional. So there's a possibility they could play 4 times. Because other than, correct me if I'm wrong, Fran, but I believe that other than Connorsville and East Central, the other schools are all in the same sectional together also. All
I think you're right,
the other
yes.
EIAC
I think so.
schools.
Yes,
So, and I think
'Cause they're
it's
3A.
Batesville and Greensburg, I think, play in the, I don't know if Greensburg plays in the Ripley County tournament or not. Maybe it's, I could be wrong, but I thought that there was a chance that some of them could play each other 4 times.
Right. So I think the 4A schools are East Central, Connorsville, and Rush, and no, not wouldn't be Rush. Rushville's 3A.
I think
Is it just Connorsville and East Central 4As? Everybody else is 3A?
3A.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to think about that because some of them in football are 4A. I know
Yes.
Franklin County and East Central, Connorsville, and South Dearborn are all 4A. But in basketball, I believe it's just East Central and Connorsville.
Okay.
And of course, Connorsville goes north to Newcastle for sectional.
Yes.
And East Central goes to Columbus to
Do they?
typically, yes.
Okay.
And it's a long haul for them over there. To Columbus. The Bloomington schools are in that also, so it's that one's spread out pretty far.
Do they play Columbus North or East?
North, I believe.
Is it North? They probably have the bigger
Usually,
gym, I think.
usually.
Yeah, right. It should be interesting. Interesting. Well, we've covered high school carryings on pretty well. What's going to happen in Indianapolis?
Well, you mean coaching situation? Well, we're going to find out. I would hope that the Colts would keep Coach Pagano. I think he's done a good job. There's been a lot of unfortunate circumstances this year. You know, you can always look back at things. That one time where he had them all line up on one side, I thought that was kind
That
of
was kind of weird.
kind of weird, kind of bonehead there. But
never did figure that.
overall, I think he's a pretty good coach. And
I think so.
You know, he's not. You know, when your star quarterback has been
Yeah.
out most of the season, and
Absolutely.
they just kept having to go find quarterbacks. I think he deserves another year, but we'll see.
We'll see, but I agree. I think they should keep him on because of the injury problems and everything that he encountered. But if they do let him go, I don't think he'll have any problem finding a job someplace because I think some of the teams with coaching vacancies will jump at the opportunity to hire him.
Speaking of Colts quarterbacks, reminds me of former Colt quarterback, and yesterday on Sunday, what a job he did coming in the relief role, that being Peyton Manning, and
Yes.
sparked his team to a victory.
Yes.
Showed that he still has it.
Still has it right. Cincinnati, the Bengals are riding high, but Saturday night they take on Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Cincinnati again, and all Pittsburgh has to do is throw their helmets out on the field, I think.
Yeah. Third time this season. So,
Yes.
I was listening to some sports talk last night after that game on the radio, and some of the people in Cincinnati were saying, they were hoping that it'd work out that they had to bye, and others said, well, we'd like to play Pittsburgh again. But
Yeah, I don't know. I think a week off would have been my choice if I would have had the choices. But they've had a good season,
yes,
Bengals.
they have. Yes, they have, and hopefully they can make it through that first round. They've had a tough time doing that. They've been right there, and
Yeah, it's been a long years and years since they won a playoff game. So hopefully this will be it. If Dalton's thumb heals, well, I guess he can play, but that's to be determined toward the end of the week. So
see what happens. But
yeah, right.
Still a lot of Bengals fans in the area.
I think so.
Yeah.
You hear
And,
Bengals talk, yeah.
Of course, there'll be a lot of people getting on the bandwagon now too, maybe. But now that the Colts are out, but I like them both, and I can watch both of them.
Sure, yeah, I enjoy both of them. I think they're fun. They're fun to watch and everything. But Spartan Spring Sports will be coming up shortly. So that will be be interesting. I think girls play soccer in the spring, I believe. Or do the boys play soccer in the spring? What am I thinking of?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I know.
Boys play in the fall, I believe.
Yeah, I think they both play in the fall.
Oh, do they? Oh,
Yeah,
okay. I
think
was
they
thinking.
both play in the fall.
Okay.
And then, of course, we'll have baseball and softball coming up.
Yeah, and track, I believe.
Track, yeah.
Track will be.
Hopefully our producer can get some of those coaches in here before their season starts, and we can find out what's going to happen here.
Right, we'd like to talk to these folks. We could bring the athletic director back in here, get his views on how things are going and what's new at CHS. I don't know if they're getting their new press box underway or not. I haven't been out there to check to see.
I haven't either.
I know that was a plan for the vocational school guys and gals to put up a new press box, and then it will be surrounded, I think, by new fields. A soccer field and a new girls
field
softball.
and softball.
I think so.
Softball field
Right.
for the girls, and they need it.
Yes, they do. The soccer field they play on is not regulation, I understand. As far as length is concerned, it is width, but the length of it is what's not quite regulation. So hopefully they will. It'll be before we know it, it'll be football time again.
Yeah, it will.
Spartan will play 5 home games this year, 4 on the road. So it should be an interesting season. They've got a lot of young guys coming back, and Coach Kelly is always excited about football.
He is, and he works at that year round, and
Yes.
and those young men probably are hitting if they're not participating in winter and spring sports. I'm sure they're participating in weightlifting and that type of thing.
Yeah, they're in the
now,
training room, I think,
Yeah,
quite a bit.
They are.
Yes.
They are. It's kind of a year-round thing. But as you said, we got some rest of the winter season here, and then spring will be here before we know it. One of the other sports we didn't talk about was tennis that will be coming up in the springs, and they'll have the new tennis courts all done for that.
Yes. So that should be really attractive for that sport and everything.
Sure.
So yeah, that'll be coming up shortly here, but
and then also boys golf.
yes,
Yeah.
that's a spring sport also. Yeah, they always do pretty well. Doug Fish has done
Oh, he
a good
does a
job.
tremendous job with them.
Yes.
Yeah, and they have a great course to play on, practice on, and over the years, Doug's done a very nice job with
Yes,
them.
he has. He has.
He's quite the golfer himself.
Yes, yeah. He underwent knee surgery, I believe, a while back, and he said, "I hope it adds 50 yards to my drives." So we'll
have to see.
Yeah, right. Well, the Spartans again. I know we're anxious for the boys to get going. It's been a while since we've seen them. The game with Richmond, and then they had one more home game with Greenfield Central. And pulled that one out. I think.
That one. That was a great game.
Yes, it was.
They played very well. It was the boy-girl doubleheader, and they closed out the pre-Christmas part of the season very well before they went into that wedding tournament, beating both Richmond and Greenfield Central.
That was a good thing, the doubleheader. I think we should see more of those, but I don't know if we will.
Well, we've had that one the last several years. I know that it doesn't necessarily. I think it's good for the fans. It doesn't necessarily help the gate, because some people would go to both.
Sure.
But they pay one admission to get in. It is good for the fans.
Yes, it was. It was an interesting evening. I went and watched the game, and I thought they were interesting, and I'm glad the Spartans won. That about wraps up our time here tonight, Sam, for our show. We'll see you folks again next week with another Spartan Sports Report here on TV3. Thanks for watching.